Hey guys, in today's video I'm showing you how to replace the rear brake pads and rotors on a 2003 Toyota 4Runner. This body style was made between 2003 and 2009, so you obviously should know what you have. We'll need to go on ahead and remove the caliper first, and then we'll remove the rotor after that. So let's just get right into what we need to do. Okay, so down here under the car, if you look at the back of the caliper, it's held on by two 17mm screws. This one and this one, you'll need to remove those first. Then the caliper should be able to just slide off, you know, kind of away from the rotor. You might need to persuade it a little bit, but it should be able to pull off. After that, you can set the caliper down to the side. We'll deal with that in a little bit because you will need to press the piston back in. I'll show you how to do that. But for now, just take it off, set it to the side, hang it up somewhere. Don't let it hang by the brake line. You should be able to set it like on top of the axle tube here or something like that. Just out of your way. After that, you will need to remove the caliper bracket, which is held on by, there's a screw right here you see I'm pointing at, and there's also another screw just like this, kind of right behind this arm right here. It's kind of tucked behind there, but it's in the exact same place, just up on the top. I'm sorry you can't see it with this angle, but everything here is a 17mm. So you just need to, like I said, take off both these first, remove the caliper. You can take the pads out as well, and then remove this 17 and the other 17 that you can't see. You might be able to see it when I take the caliper off, but let's just get into that. They should just pull out like that. This one up top's being a little stubborn. So now you should be able to take the caliper off, slide it off like that, and just set it to the side. Now you get yourself a flathead screwdriver and remove the brake pads. Sometimes you can just push them out like that. Well, the brake pads are now out. Now, like I said, you need to remove this caliper bracket. So loosen and remove the two 17mm screws that are holding it in. Okay, that's one bolt out, and you just loosen and remove the other bolt. Make sure you get a hold of this so it doesn't fall. And then you can just remove the bracket and set it down. Okay, now we're back to the side of the car where we need to remove the rotor. If you have the parking brake on, release the parking brake now, because if you don't, it will be very difficult to get the rotor off, because it's already going to be a little difficult already, especially if you live in an area that's rusted, you know, like a rusty area in the Midwest or wherever it snows at and there's salt on the roads. This will probably be kind of hard to get off. Fortunately for me, I don't live in a rusty area, so it shouldn't be too hard for me to get it off. What I like to do is get some PB Blaster. Just spray it on the hub itself. You don't need a whole bunch of it, just a little bit. Actually, let me get a rag to catch it before anything falls on the ground. Okay, just spray a little bit of PB Blaster like here, and you can see it'll go around. You can spray a little bit on the insides here if you want. Just trying to get the rotor free from the hub. Now, the best case scenario is that this rotor, when you would go to pull on it, it would just come off. However, that's usually not the case. What I'd like to do is just take a hammer and hit the face of the rotor, mostly on top, and that should jolt it free from the hub, and then you should be able to remove it. Last case scenario, what you want to do is to hit in the back of the rotor over here. I don't like hitting back there because, you know, that kind of puts a torquing angle on the wheel bearings, and I don't want to replace those. Granted, it's not going to do anything if you have to do it, but I like to just hit it on the face, and most of the time that breaks it free. You can see it's already coming loose. So you can see that there is loose. We'll hit it over here. And you can pull it free like so. There will be a lot of dust because the parking brake shoes are right here. You don't need to do anything with those. If they're worn, you can replace them, but 9 times out of 10 they're not, because you're not driving around with the parking brake on, so they won't really be getting worn out. So the next thing you'll need to do is to just get yourself your new rotor and slip it back on into place. We got the new rotor here. Go on ahead and just slide it back into place. Just like so. If it doesn't hold itself on, you can always just get yourself a lug nut and screw the lug nut all the way on to kind of hold it in place. And then so from here, I'll show you what you need to do with the caliper and what you need to do with the slide pins. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is to grab, before you start putting things back together, is to grab the slide pins. These are the bolts that's screwed into this caliper bracket that held the caliper on. They go into little rubber boots here. What you want to do is take and wipe these off. There's grease. There's supposed to be grease on them. Just wipe them off completely so they're both clean. And then what you want to do is get yourself some, I use this disc brake grease or wheel bearing grease, this stuff here, multi-purpose grease. Just get some of it and then just put some of it, you know, you can apply a liberal amount. You don't need a whole bunch, but just put some onto the pins like so. You don't reinstall them yet. You know, you'll need to go, when you go to install these, they'll go through the caliper. All you're needing to do is to grease up the pins, and then you can just set them aside. You know, you can just set them like this on the ground so they're face up and ready to go. So just grease up both of them, that way when you go to install your caliper, you can do so. Okay, so after you've got your pins all greased up and set down to the side like I have over here, take the caliper bracket next, and you'll notice inside of it there are little metal clips, kind of like these. They should all be able to be removed. If your new brakes came with new hardware, you can go on ahead and remove all of these and just match it up with the hardware you have and slide them into place. They are designed to kind of press fit, so if you can't get these old ones out, you can use a screwdriver, a flathead to kind of pry them out. And then same with the new ones. When you put them in, they're designed to kind of hold themselves in place, so you may have to press them on a little bit harder than usual because they're supposed to, you know, pretty much stay where they're put. So you can go on ahead and do that, and then I will direct your attention to the caliper now. Okay, so If we get back up here to the brake caliper, what you want to do is take one of the old brake pads and you'll take and stick it into the caliper like so. You'll use a tool like this. It's a piston compressing tool. There are different types. This one was 10 bucks at O'Reilly or AutoZone. I've been using this thing for probably 8 years and it works just fine. So you'll want to pretty much slide it into place. Let me see if I can get it set up here for you. You want it to look something like this, where you have the piston, the old brake pad over here. The tool is designed as you turn it, it'll press the piston back in completely, and you want to be able to press the piston all the way back in so that you can get your new brake pads into place. So it's pretty simple, it's very easy to use. Like I said, there's different versions of these brake tools. Just go on Amazon or check your local parts store and you should be able to get them. And they shouldn't be too expensive at all. Plus, if you plan on doing brakes a lot, it's a good tool to have. Alternatively, people do use large channel locks, and you can grab here and squeeze the piston back in. But you know, for people that aren't that strong, these tools work a little better. So I got that piston all the way back in already. Take the old pad out and you can see the piston is all the way back in. So now what we need to do is to go on ahead and reinstall the caliper bracket back into place, and then we'll get the brake pads into place and we can go on ahead and put everything back together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to reinstall is the caliper bracket. If you remember, it's held on by two 17mm bolts that are in the back. We'll go on ahead. Don't forget to put the washers back into place, and you can just slide this back around and tighten it up. Okay, like so. And then the next thing you want to do is simply to get your brake pads and slide them into place. Okay, so we get your new brake pads. I like to just put a little bit of grease where they're going to slide at. You don't need to put grease on the back of the pad because they already have shims on them that are designed to stop the squeaking. But yeah, you just grab it, slide your new pad into place. Like so. And then grab your other pad so you can stick it into the back. Okay, like so. And then what you need to do is grab the caliper now and take it and slide it around, and make sure that the these rubber little sleeves here, make sure they don't get bound up, because you need to slide the bolts through those and tighten them into place. So you take your 17mm slide pins that you greased up earlier, you need to make sure they slide through the rubber, and then you tighten them into place. And you go ahead and tighten those guys up. And so once you got those all the way tightened up, that's it. You can put the wheels back on and drop it back down on the ground, and that's pretty much all there is to this. This job will probably take you about an hour if you haven't done it before, maybe an hour and a half max. But if you have done these before, you can knock these things out in about 20 or 30 minutes for both the left and right side. Same goes for the front. So I also have a video on my channel showing you how to do the front brakes on this same vehicle, so don't forget to check that out on your way out. If it's your first time to the channel, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. You guys can ask me any questions you have in the comment section below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the way out. I'll catch you guys next time.